This is a New York City FC pregame live. Tonight, New York City head back to the Bronx to host FC Cincinnati. And now, here are your hosts, Glenn Crooks and Matty Lawrence.
Well, hello, everybody. We both went to college. we should celebrate our universities before we get to the players, because we do have a quartet of college guys for New York City FC. There they are. We'll get back to them in a minute. Let's talk about us.
Exactly.
I'm Glenn. There's Matty. So for me, Matty, many years before you graduated from Hartwick College, I graduated from the University of Georgia, which to this day does not have a Division I men's soccer program. So I did not attend Georgia to play soccer.
Or to watch soccer.
No, I watched intramural soccer.
Oh, okay.
That's my first coaching assignment, was to run the intramural team. And I was like a superstar because I did play up north, but and not much was going on in Georgia with soccer. So,
well, not in the 1920s.
No. So Athens, Georgia, great college town. Had a great experience and got my first radio job right out of school, thanks to WUOG, the college radio station. Now, while all this was happening, years later, when Matty Lawrence entered school at Hartwick, you have an interesting story because you're not from the United States of America, yet you ended up at Hartwick, which at the time was a primo in the men's soccer realm.
Yeah, it was a powerhouse. Unfortunately, it's now Division III, but it was Division I back then. I think to this day, it is still the smallest school to have won the national championship. There's only about 1,500 students at Hartwick. So in 1977, they won the championship, the title, the College Cup. I was scouted in England by Glenn Moochie Myanek, who is a Jersey legend.
He's a Jersey legend, a Hall of Famer.
I thought I'd get that in. So and Moochie found myself and Coach McIntyre, who we sometimes have on the show. We were at the England under-18 last 60 trials, and he pretty much on the spot offered Macca and I full scholarships, and that was that. And I came over in August of 1992, Glenn, and haven't looked back since. Didn't get to work with Mooch because he left, but I got to work with the great Jim Lennox and with Carl Rees, and they gave me the bed in the foundation for a professional football career. Obviously, I went home and played before coming back again and working with yourself, Glenn, for NYCFC. So it's been quite a trip. Forth, back, but
plus
I've
660 professional matches in England after the Hartwick experience, which really there are some figures that came out of that program. And yes, Ian McIntyre up at Syracuse now. We've been waiting for the squad to be released, and it was just announced, the starting 11. So it is college night. And I suppose before we get to the 11, we'll give it to you in a moment because a couple of people have already asked for it. Let's just check out the college boys. That guy in the top left is Matt Freese. He went to Harvard University. And now another Ivy Leaguer to the right of him at the top, that's Kevin O'Toole, a two-time Offensive Player of the Year at Princeton University. And then there's Malachi Jones, who played at Lipscomb and was a first-round draft choice, the 8th overall selection a couple of years ago by New York City. And then Tomas Romero, the reserve goalkeeper. Sometimes we don't give him the credit due. He saved a penalty in a shootout to win the national championship for Georgetown University. So those are the boys. And also signing on a short-term agreement, so he wasn't in that group, is Arnau Farnos, who played for 1 year at Oregon State. So there's another college guy. He has signed on his fourth and final short-term agreement. So we'll see what happens after that.
I don't want to put you on the spotlight, but I'm going to, Glenn. Does that mean now then for him to play for the first team, he needs to sign a full-time contract?
A first-team contract. There's a contract like Seymour Reed signed last year that has some other provisions, but it would have to be a first-team contract, and there are certain designations. He joins
the roster of the first team.
He would be on the roster proper. Now, he can play in one more. He's played in 2 games out of the 3 he's been added to the roster, but one was a U.S. Open Cup game, so it's the rules are a bit confusing. Yeah. He can play in up to 2 MLS games, so that you can play as many outside of MLS games as you want.
So he hopes for a run in the U.S. Open Cup because he can.
Correct. Then he'll get more minutes there. So our starting 11. In no particular order, because that's generally the way we get. I guess it's a numerical order. Kai Truen, Nico Fernandez-Mercado, Maxi Morales, Thiago Martins is the captain, Hannes Wolf, Aiden O'Neill, Kevin O'Toole, Tavon Gray, Agustin Ojeda, Raul Gustavo, and Matt Freese. So that puts Truen in the midfield with O'Neill and Keaton Parks. Let's see if he's on the bench. I have to look closely here. Keaton Parks
he's on the bench.
On the bench, yeah.
They've written him down as Keaton, not Parks.
Yes, so and Arnos is on the bench as expected with the short-term deal. Tyler Spagno on the bench, still kind of waiting to see if he gets a start one of these days. Malachi Jones is not on the bench because he'll be making a start for the 2 team to try to build up his minutes.
Well, I just saw him feasting in the canteen, so I hope he's not donning the substitutes jersey. But he looked great. I mean that sincerely. He looked fit, healthy. Certainly the way he's eating all those hot dogs. I kid.
That's don't get him in trouble, Matty.
I joke.
So here we are. We're coming off the 2 results for the teams playing tonight here at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. And that's FC Cincinnati. They scored 2 late goals to come back and tie Chicago at home at TQL Stadium 3-3. So they got a point out of that. So they feel good about it because they had to come back from 2 down. Yet it's been a difficult year for FC Cincinnati. If you look at the conference standings, they come in with a 2-4-2 record, 10th. So they're actually below the playoff line as we speak. As for New York City, they dropped to 3 wins, 3 losses, and a couple of draws with the 2-1 defeat against Charlotte. And so, we talked a lot about that on NYCFC Coffee Break Live yesterday. It's every Monday, with the exception of this past week, a Tuesday at 11 a.m. Matty and I can kind of recap the weekend and look at elsewhere around MLS as well. But in general, we've had a lot of time to talk about it and think about it. When you look back, it's a game that you probably feel like they should have won because of the number of opportunities they had that they didn't take care of, right?
They should have beaten Charlotte. We know that NYCFC are good at home. I thought it was a good performance, but just performing well isn't always good enough to win games of football, as we know. Sometimes you'd rather play badly and win. It was a good performance, but until the penalty area, and that's the problem, isn't it? In both penalty areas, they weren't that good defensively and attacking-wise. And 2 goals, the 2 goals they gave up, I thought were poor goals to give up. And they had numerous opportunities to be 1-2-0 up before Charlotte even scored as well. Certainly Gustavo had 2 headers. Tyler Magno, I know this was later on, had a header, but there's other opportunities as well. Kai Truen had the effort from the top of the box, from the edge of the penalty area with his left foot that he really scuffed. Ojeda, the back post header that did hit the post, but still it's not on target. Right. That was the thing. There was 3 or 4 headers that didn't hit the target that all should have hit the target and made the goalkeeper
Would you
work.
like to see the gaffer talking about that?
I would love to. I really would. I'd love to get his opinion.
All right. The New York City FC head coach is Pascal Janssen in his 2nd season, and we brought up the headball thing as part of our pregame briefing, which will air at 7:15 tonight.
Those are 3. There was another one with Thales in the second half as well, with his quality, and the same goes for Raul Gustavo. Those are clear chances for us, and the simple matter of the fact is that you have to do better in these type of situations. It has to be a header on frame. And all 3 that you mentioned just now were not on frame, and that's on us. It's simple, as simple as that. It should have been a header on frame where you give either the goalkeeper a chance to give away a rebound, and you are there for the rebound, or you score the goal direct. And if you remember the game that we played against Westchester, the cup game, I think the header that Thales made was far more difficult than the 3 mentioned in the Charlotte game.
Yeah.
That's the truth. That's the truth. He had to loop that over the keeper into the back post, and that's one where he kept it under the bar. He didn't necessarily head it down. That was a technical header there for the finish for Magno. But, it's just...
There's not the pressure. Let's be honest. Let's give Gustavo a little bit of a let-off. There's not the pressure when you're playing in the 2-team or not the 2-team, but the US Open Cup.
Yeah.
I don't know which goal that was. I can't remember. But
that was number 5.
That was number 5. So you're already winning. There's no pressure on that whatsoever. Right. But Gustavo should have hit the target on his 2 efforts. The 2 efforts you just showed us. You just head the ball down. We talk about it time and time again. Attacking headers, head down, head the top third of the ball. It automatically goes down, head it with the middle of your forehead. And it goes in. This is not rocket science. You don't need to be a tycoon. You don't need to be smart. You don't need anything. This is simple things. And what Pascal Janssen said there was incredibly simple. You've got to force the goalie to make a save, because he either makes a mistake and lets it in, or he offers up a rebound.
Keep talking.
I will keep talking. Yeah, you disappear. I can host this. I can question myself.
No. Are you suggesting that he said put it on frame?
It's a seamless link. It's a seamless link.
Is that right?
Well,
available on Amazon and Google Books, and there is some Pascal Janssen mention in here, but anyway, yes.
Do I get my $20 now for leading you?
Well, no, Pascal gets it for saying.
Yeah, I'm sure he needs it.
Yeah. So it was a matter of missed chances. There was one opportunity that was finished, and it was at stoppage time, so it was just too little, too late. But let's see the leading goal scorer for New York City FC here.
Top of the penalty area, Fernandez Mercal, what a shot! Outside the area, left-footed first time as the ball squirted outside of the area, and Fernandez Mercal was positioned perfectly, could approach the ball and drive it. Goal number 6 on the season, and maybe there's still a little life with 90 seconds remaining and a minimum 4 of added time.
And right now, Fernandez Mercal is tied for 4th in MLS with those 6 goals. Peter Musa for Dallas has 9, and Lionel Messi and Sam Surridge each with 7. But it's a great strike, and right now he's the one guy you rely on to finish. If New York City, I mean, you get the feeling if New York City is going to get 3 points today against Cincinnati, Fernandez Mercal has to have 1 or 2.
Yeah, that's been problematic in the last 3 games. They've only scored 2 goals in the last 3. So that's a goal every 135 minutes. That's very, very problematic. It makes it hard to win games of football, as we've seen. They've only got 1 point from the last 4 games. I know in the first of those losses, they scored 2 against Inter Miami, but Inter Miami got 3. So that means nothing as well. So it's been a tough ride. Right now, the match we are going to watch and that will excite us is between 2 poor teams. FC Cincinnati have only won 1 game out of the last 7, and NYCFC have only got 1 point out of the last 12 points available. So these are 2 bad teams. The facts are right there for us. But we know that under the guidance of Pat Noonan, FC Cincinnati, and Pascal Janssen, NYCFC, the teams won't be that bad in 10, 15 games' time. We know that they're developing teams. We know NYCFC have had a bit of bad luck. They will come good. But yes, goal scoring is a worry, and you're absolutely spot on, Glenn. Without Fernandez Mercal, I have no idea who's going to score a goal. I genuinely have no idea. You don't want Thiago Martins or Raul Gustavo going up from corners because they tend to head the ball over the bar. And then Hannes Wolf flits in and out. Ojada's not a great finisher. Maxi Morales, we know, doesn't score goals particularly. Keaton Parks is somebody who does, but he's on the bench. Where are the goals going to come from? It is problematic.
Maxi Morales does have 11 assists to go along with 1 goal in 11 games played against FC Cincinnati. We mentioned this is the 20th all-time meeting, Matty. 15 in the regular season. And then there were 3 playoff games, which New York City came away winning 2 out of the 3 in that opening round a couple of years ago. They played once in the Leagues Cup, Cincinnati winning that. Once in the U.S. Open Cup, Cincinnati had the win in that. So it's opponents that have met each other on numerous occasions. Last year, New York City recording a pair of 1-0 victories. Alonso Martinez scoring in August, and Julian Fernandez with a wonderful goal. Neither are available tonight. Fernandez is out on loan, and Martinez is out with a knee, and back to scoring goals.
Back to scoring goals, and back to Fernandez Macau better hit the back of the net, because he is the only player at the moment who has that eye for goal. I know that the strike he scored in the last game against Charlotte, it was a sort of a worldy goal. It could have gone anywhere, but I think with Fernandez Macau, what I loved about his goal was, first, he didn't celebrate it, Glenn, and I know lots and lots of players who would have celebrated, whether it was a winner, a consolation goal, whatever it was. He just ran back to the centre circle. But more than that, I love the technique. I love that standing foot off the floor, just powered through the back of the ball. It was a truly wonderful strike. Again, no pressure on, because the game was pretty much dead and buried. But just the ability.
Interestingly enough, Magno had one more chance before the final whistle.
The game should have been dead and buried at that point. That's when there was no pressure on the strike, why he was free to hit it how he did. And boy, there was no saving that, that's for sure.
All right, so we went over the New York City 11, and again, Parks on the bench, Truant in the midfield with O'Neal, Gustavo starting in the back. We did feel like Raul Gustavo had maybe his best game of the season so far, so he's awarded with another start for New York City. On the Cincinnati side, just quickly, Celentano in goal, Hadebe, Hagelin, and Smith, their back three. No Miles Robinson, he was left home. And Matt Miazga's had frequent injuries, so they're missing two
and
regulars
Flores
at the
as
back.
Well, Flores, who quite often plays too.
Yep,
Roberto Flores. So
he could be on the bench here. I believe he is on. No, he's not on a bench either. It looks like. Do you see? No, there he is. Gilberto Flores is on the bench. He started at the back last week, and then it's going to be Mbama, Dem, Giddy, Evander, Buka, and Echenique, who's been their most dangerous player.
Good player.
And Barlow and Denke up top. Denke did not play in the 3-3 draw against Chicago. He was suspended from a red card previous game. So he's back in with his 2 goals and an assist. So they seem to have more attacking weapons or goal scorers, I guess, to choose from. Or I might be overstating that. But the way Echenique is playing, he's playing in like the Augustino Hayda role, and he's been producing.
But goal scoring's also been their problem. They've got some really quality forward players.
Yeah.
But Evander's only got 1 goal and 1 assist. And
his first goal last week.
And that came from the penalty spot.
Right.
Denke and Barlow are 2 pretty good centre forwards for MLS standards. Both of them have only got 2 goals from their 7 and 8 games respectively. So it's not as though they're full of goals as well. And at the other end, they're just shipping goals left, right, and centre. It's been 18 in the last 5 they've conceded, 12 in the last 4, and that was with the likes of Robinson or Miazga playing. So it hasn't mattered who they've played at the back or who was in goal, which has been Celentano.
And who did they beat this year, Matty? Atlanta and Montreal.
Atlanta and Montreal.
And as you wrote to me, 2 dreadful teams. So...
this is a real must-win game for both teams.
Yeah, that's really where it becomes interesting.
I absolutely think there shouldn't be any such sting as that at this stage of the season. But it feels like, if you're a player, it will feel like you've got to win this because the other team aren't playing well. They're there for the taking. Whether you're an FC Cincinnati player or an NYCFC player, you can think that about the opposition because you only need to look back at their recent results. They've been poor.
If you look out there onto the Yankee Stadium turf, the goalkeepers and their coaches are warming up on both sides, Cincinnati to our right and the New York City Football Club to our left. Matt Freese, presumptive number 1 for the U.S. men's national team. Roman Celentano, he was, however you want to look at it, the 2nd or 3rd keeper at the last camp. He did not play as Matt Turner got 1 game and Matt Freese got the other. So it's clear that those 2, Freese and Turner, are going to be 1-2, whatever order that Mauricio Pochettino elects to pick. It's really the 3rd keeper that is undecided at this point. So how these boys play over the last, for Celentano, including tonight, 7 games, and all the other candidates. Chris Brady is my number 3 if I had the choice. He met Celentano last week in a 3-3 game.
And they were both culpable for the first goals as well.
Yes.
Brady made a mistake and Celentano made a mistake. I think that 3rd goalkeeper slot, I think you're absolutely right. I think that's anybody's. Horvath, Stefan, Brady, Celentano, it could be anybody's. As long as they stay fit, I'm with you. I feel that Turner and Matt Freese are nailed on to be in that squad. But yes, the third one could be anyone's. Let's be honest, Salentano's conceded so many goals recently, it'd almost be hard to put him in as a third choice.
So there are a lot of games tonight in MLS, Matty. The 11, so 22 of the 30 teams are playing tonight, but not Montreal, which is New York City's next opponent. So they'll get a chance to put their feet up tonight, watch this game, you know. And do you think they're using the app on Apple to listen to our English hometown radio commentary?
Well, they know what's good for them. No, they may listen to it in French, which we can't do. I know we're good, but we can't do that.
We know a few words. We know a few words. So just that is a reminder. So beginning at 7:30, that's when Apple will start up the English radio hometown commentary. That's Matty and myself tonight here at Yankee Stadium. We will be on our network beginning at 7:15, and that includes Pascal Janssen on the pregame show coming up. So interesting games around the league. I guess the most interesting is Miami in Sandy, Utah for the first time to play Real Salt Lake, a team that just beat San Diego 4-2. Diego Luna looks sharp. And so that's really the game of the night. I think this is right up there because of the needs of both teams. I think we're going to see something. I don't know if it'll be special, but it'll be competitive. But that Sandy, Utah game, I'm kind of intrigued with.
That will be good. RSL are playing well at the moment. They've got Solans, the boy up top, the Spanish boy. Looks, he's not a boy, he's 22, 23, I think, but he looks very good.
But he looks like a boy.
He showed NYCFC players how to head the ball.
He did, right?
He had the ball down.
He headed down twice for goals.
And he looks like a goal scorer. That's what he looks like. He looks like a true centre forward, a true goal scorer. But again, you never know what you're going to get with Inter Miami. Will Messi play? Will Suarez play with those older hands? Be able to deal with the travelling and then playing again? Who knows? But what we do know is that Messi's very much on form again. What did you say? 7 goals in 7 games. He's doing okay, that Messi fella.
Yeah, he's doing all right. And a couple of things in the Premier League today. First of all, Manchester City, the sister club to New York City FC, on the road to Burnley. Kind of eked out a match. I'm listening on the radio. They scored 5 minutes in. I didn't see hardly any of the game, but I'm listening to Sirius XM-FC on the way in. They score 5 minutes in. It looks like they're pounding the goal. And then by the time I got here, got set up and put it on, it's late in the game and they're still up 1-0.
Well, exactly. I was traveling during it and I wasn't listening to the commentary, but I got here and I watched the last 10 or 15 minutes. And it's just 1-0, obviously. But Burnley didn't want to participate. That was the problem. Man City were just playing keep ball and they didn't even need to go for a second goal. Obviously, they wanted one, but Burnley were just so passive. They're playing at home as well.
Right.
They're pretty much relegated, or they are now relegated.
They are now, as of the,
You've got to go for it. Why aren't you going for it? And they seem to be happy to just lose 1-0. They did have a corner right in like the 93rd minute, Burnley, but again, Mark Gahey met it and headed it away. That was about as close as they got. Yeah. Mark Gahey heading it and clearing it from Man City. It wasn't great to see that the passive nature of the play from Burnley, but Man City top, and they'll now be very hard to knock off, you'd have thought.
And there are a lot of Chelsea supporters in the viewing and listening audience. There always are. It's Liverpool, Chelsea,
they're not
Man City,
up to it right now.
So what happened at Chelsea today? Tell everybody.
Rosenior. I keep calling him Leroy, but that was his father. I marked his father, Leroy Rosenior. He was a decent centre-forward. But Liam Rosenior got sacked by Chelsea 106 days in. And it's no surprise that most of the commentators, the pundits back in England, said it was too much too soon. You know, he'd done well at Strasbourg. He'd done okay at Hull in the Championship. But those clubs are totally different to the monolith, the juggernaut that is Chelsea Football Club, and the personalities you have within that team. Although so many of them are young players at Chelsea, that's their model, they've got real personalities, the likes of Fernandes and James, and you could probably go on and on. Even the likes of Chalobah, who's been there a long, long time. It's very, very difficult to guide and lead those people, especially it looks as though Liam Rosenior lost the respect to the players pretty early on. Cucurella's another one. Players who played for their country, played in the Champions League. And Liam Rosenior, hasn't done a great deal playing-wise or management-wise as well. So, yes, I think most people saw it coming, but probably not that quickly. And also, he had a 6-year contract. I know they won't pay him up 6 years of money. There'd have been a break clause in there. But still, it seems very strange to give someone a 6-year contract and 106 days later sever ties.
Well, yeah. I guess he could go sailing and,
he'll be okay,
Yeah, he'll be okay. He'll be okay. Now, I had a discussion earlier today with someone regarding, is it important that American-born coaches go and have success in Europe and try to develop maybe a bit of a stream of coaches for the U.S. getting opportunities? Well, this guy did his part. Pellegrino Matarazzo, who grew up in Fairlawn, which is Bergen County, New Jersey, studied math at Columbia University, is the first American to win a European trophy, and he did it in penalty style for Real Sociedad, and it was an amazing accomplishment, really. And there he is. This is
I love that quote.
This is one. Yeah, I wanted to put this out.
I do like that. Thank you for doing that.
Yes, you're welcome. This is the Real Sociedad president. I asked the artificial intelligence if he, meaning Matarazzo, was a good coach for Real Sociedad, and it said no. And then he said, thank goodness I trusted the sporting director instead.
Another thing is that there's many presidents out there who think they know better than their sporting directors. They'd ask AI. He probably thought it was a no as well. Otherwise, why is he asking AI? And luckily he didn't listen to AI because, yes, AI doesn't know everything. That is for certain.
AI is going to say, he's from America? It's just going to be... No chance. All right, well, that's going to do it for us. Another NYCFC pregame live. We're with you from the stadium prior to every game, 60 minutes before kickoff, and happy to be with you. And then coming up in a short amount of time, about 20 minutes, at 7:15 Eastern is our radio commentary, beginning with a pregame show featuring Pascal Janssen, the New York City FC head coach, followed by our live commentary of the game, which kicks off at 7:40. And remember, at 7:30, you can start listening on Apple, the drop-down app in the lower right-hand corner of your screen, where you can listen to the English hometown radio commentary. I think I got it all in, under the wire.
You did.
Well,
nice.
We don't really have a wire, but I still got it all in. All right. Thanks for joining us here. Look forward to talking to you there. For Matty, I'm Glenn. Enjoy the game, everybody.